This call is being recorded.
Okay, I've had a chance here to put everybody on mute. This is Barbara Borland. Hi, everybody. It's so great to always have a chance once a week to touch base with the team. And I'm really excited about tonight because we are starting a new series. We're going to continue with the focus that we've had really for most of this year because we think it's filling in an important niche in our training, and that is focusing on the basics. Our focus is not only, however, on new distributors, although this certainly is going to have tremendous values, this series for new distributors, but you know what? It's also for all of us because it's all about making sure that we as trainers, we as enrollers are training our new enrollees properly. So look at it from that perspective as well. Just a few things before we get started. At the end of this, at 8:45, I should be finished with what I have to say with my comments. I'm going to, at that point, just let everybody go who needs to go, but I am going to leave an option for anyone who wants to ask a question to feel free to do that. So be prepared. If you would like to ask a question, let everybody sign off if they want to, go on about their business, but if you do have something, I'll hang on for a little bit, and you will be able to unmute yourself by pressing the star key 2 times in a row. So, and I'll go over that before the end. Okay, so let's get going. This is Blueprint Basics Boot Camp. Oh, I love that. The BBB series. Blueprint Basics Boot Camp. My job tonight is, I think I gave myself too big of an assignment actually, but my job is to do the introduction and to talk about getting started. So let me jump in quickly. Make sure, first of all, if you plan on joining us on between now and Christmas, it'll be between now and Christmas that it takes for us to get through this. Make sure you do have a fresh copy of the new blueprint. It is significantly different. I think even vastly improved over the old blueprint. It's more up-to-date, modern, but it's got some really great tweaks in it compared to the old one that really fits the overall training that we're receiving, especially from the LifeVantage Academy. So make sure you have your own blueprint. If you don't, get it. Now, one of the things that we heard about at Elite Academy was the 4 pillars of building a successful network marketing business. I believe it was Gabe and Jill Pearson who took the opportunity to go over that. And they focused on, there's 4 key areas: the blueprint, the event cycle, doing the core habits of leaders, and then personal growth. I want you guys to realize that this series is focusing only on one of the 4 major pillars. It's not complicated. Let's not overcomplicate this, but please be aware that understanding the blueprint is part of the overall picture of becoming a top distributor in LifeVantage. I will say, however, that if you do not know the blueprint, if you are not following the blueprint, if you're not exercising the different kinds of activities that are described in the blueprint, then there's no point to going to events. There's no point in worrying about the habits, and there's no point, as far as your LifeVantage business is, to really focus on personal growth. So the blueprint is the foundation. Now, let's jump right into this. And I'm going to be on page 2 of the new blueprint. And it talks, and what we're going to focus on first is the whole process of business building. The first thing that you must understand is that you must approach this with the mindset of an apprentice. Now, an apprentice, that's someone who's learning from someone who knows a little bit more, maybe someone who knows a lot more than you do about the business. You can read for your own what it says there, but the point I want to make is that understand that there is just the right amount of time that you need to be in the apprentice mode. First of all, don't ever think that you can bypass being an apprentice. Don't go out and try to wing it. Don't try to do it on your own. There is a period of time that you definitely will need to learn from your enroller or your upline. But on the other hand, don't think that this apprenticeship lasts a long time. The whole point of this is to get you trained up so that you can go build your business. So being an apprentice is just enough time. You're practicing and learning. Like, the whole attitude is that you should practice like crazy so that you can fly on your own as soon as possible. The next thing they talk about is identifying business builders. And what they talked about in the blueprint is that they say, they use the term as you enroll. As you enroll, your job is to build the business or build your downline. What that implies, that term as you enroll, implies that you are enrolling. This implies that you are actively engaged in enrolling. And that implies that you are not putting a qualification on who you enroll. Honestly, except for enrolling people that are, criminals, there is no bad enrollment, because people will live up into whatever they choose to live up to as an enrolled distributor or customer. It is up to them to determine what they do with the opportunity that you give them. So don't limit yourself by prejudging who you want to talk to. Don't go through the process of hand selecting your team. No, go about enrolling. Enroll customers, enroll distributors. Let the distributors, through their actions and their attitudes, show you if they are going to be a business builder. Keep your eyes open to those who have a focus on doing more than the average, on those who are interested in truly making life-changing income, and it's on those that you will focus your business building efforts. The rest of everybody, you love them. You love them for who they are. You love them for their involvement in the company, but you will be spending your time on those who you identify through their actions and their attitudes to be business builders. The next thing is that the important concept is that you must understand that it is your job as a new distributor to learn how to teach new distributors to do what you just learned to do. And that takes us over to the next page, which is page 3, which talks all about the basically on-the-job training. You are not in this alone. Remember, we said at the beginning, you start out as an apprentice. However, that is a short-term deal. This is not a lifelong indentured servitude. You will be on your own as fast as you need to be, as fast as you should be. How long it takes is up to you. Everybody has their different thresholds, so no expectation that you have to be ready to present in front of 500 people in the first month. Some people might feel comfortable with that, but obviously not everyone would. But your job is to set a fast pace for yourself in learning to be self-sufficient. You see, we are all about learning the process of duplication. Duplication has there's many ways of looking at duplication, and later on in this series, we will be hearing about how the concept of duplication has a direct impact on your financial future, on the financial aspects of your business. But for right now, what we're talking about is using the concept of duplication to teach you, to show you how to be effective in teaching others to be effective business builders. Because you see, it's all about self-sufficiency. We all will benefit from everyone learning the ropes, learning the tools, becoming self-sufficient, and teaching others to do the same thing. We don't want to go through long periods of time where we're dependent on others. So the whole thing that we want you to do is, as they show on page 3, is to go through a 3-step process of becoming an excellent business builder. You do that first step with your enroller or your upline support, doing 100% of the work of talking about the business, about telling the story, telling their story, telling the company story, and telling the product story. You will be on the side, observing as a good apprentice, taking notes and learning every step. And you'll want to use as many people in this process so that you hear as many people as possible to make sure that you have a broad breadth of experience. But you then need quickly to move to step 2, which is where you have help, but you are participating in the process, where you are doing part of the presentation, where in a 3-on-1, like your enroller and your prospect talking, you are given the time to do part of the presentation. And then the third step is when you step out on your own, step out without your enroller with you, and you do the business of telling the story, telling the company story, telling your story, telling the product story. And you're doing it not for your own prospects, but you're doing it for who? You're doing it for your enrolled distributors. Now, the length of time, don't think that this is a 3-session deal. First you hear, well, of course they taught us that in medical school, see one, teach one, do one. Well, let's not be quite that cavalier, but how long it takes for you to go from step 2 to step 3 is really a matter of personal preference and attitude, but always be intent upon moving forward in that process so that you have made it through step 3 and are able to support your team rather than relying on others to do the same. Now, please don't misunderstand us. Your upline is absolutely ready to do anything for you. I think you guys, if you've been in for more than one day, you know that's true. But how much more effective will you be if you have the same skill set that your enroller has? So guys, it's all a matter of on-the-job training. Soak it up and move forward with it. Always putting the brakes on when you need, but taking the brakes off as soon as you're ready to roll. So the last thing I want to talk about is on page 4 and 5, and that's the getting started checklist. It's kind of interesting because, we have so many different ways of what I call launching a new distributor. So many different concepts, so many different ways, and I'm not going to get into a detailed personal opinion about that because your enroller is going to have a way that works best for them, and they will talk to you about that. However, I want, as you read through the checklist on day 1 and day 2, there's a few important concepts that come across. And the first important concept is that taking the first step in inviting others to see the opportunity is far more important than getting all of this technology under your belt. Don't worry about your back office. Don't worry about the apps. Don't worry about how to negotiate all of these technical things until you get your foot wet inviting people. You'll learn it quickly. In fact, you should learn it the next day. But the first step, the far most important step, is getting that that first inviting, either in person or on the phone, done. And why is this? It's because it's more important for you to step out of your comfort zone as soon as you can. That's far more important than us making you feel comfortable with things. If we as enrollers could tend to making everyone feel really, really comfortable, but in the end, I think we are doing a disservice, because the real issue is that we as new distributors all have some levels of insecurity about stepping out and sharing the information. And it's best to get out of your comfort zone when you have your enroller right there to help you and to give you guidance and support and give you a big cheer, yay, yay, go you, when you do it, than to wait and put that off. So I think that's really the most important concepts, is it's more important to start inviting than it is to deal with the technology. And number two, it's more important to get out of your comfort zone than to feel comfortable. Feeling uncomfortable will not last long. And I tell you what, we're going to have some great talks coming up in the next few weeks. We have incredible leaders who are going to be part of this call, who have tremendous experience in training multiple distributors. And they're going to give a lot of help to all of us about not only as new distributors, how to get over our fears, concerns, etc., but also how we as more seasoned distributors can help others overcome the obstacles that we must break down. So with that, I'm going to close with the discussion about getting started. Make sure, if you haven't, to get that new blueprint. It's not so new now, but it's the newer one, and read pages 2 through 5, and to make sure that you've gotten everything under your belt on that regard. Next week, we're going to talk about setting goals and objectives. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off record mode, just a moment here.